Good morning, Liberty County. We're here once again to bring you the local COVID update. This morning we were part of an earlier conference call from the Coastal Health District, and I'm pleased to announce that even though our numbers are uptick just a little bit, we're still pleased with where we are. We are once again pleased with your compliance. I will have to be very transparent with you, though, that I was telling the group earlier when I'm out and about in the community that I still see a lot of people who are not masked. So I'm asking you to mask up when you go out into the various venues in the county. And if you should approach someone who's not masked, then please practice social distancing from that person or those persons. That's the best way you can manage that. But we're pleased thus far, and we thank you so much. We once again give accolades to this Team Liberty, who's done an outstanding job of keeping us on track for these last several months. It's been a semi-long journey. But we still have a pandemic that's in our community. We heard on the local news and national news that some neighboring states are having increases in that number. So we know we are a very transit community. We have to be very careful of that here in Liberty County because of the nature of who we are as a community. So please, ma'am, please, sir, continue to do that, if you will. Now, there have been some changes, and Mr. Brown and Mr. Howard will talk about that. Maybe Mr. Baker, Mayor Baker, too. You know, there's been some soft openings or step beyond soft openings. We're kind of getting back to business, and I heard there was a line around this building on yesterday when it came to the tag office. So please be compliant. Please police yourselves when it comes to that. We want to maintain our control of this virus in our community. So even as you get back into some level of normalcy, please, ma'am, please, sir, as we would say in the church, govern yourselves accordingly. So at this time, I'm going to yield and have the Honorable Mayor Larry Baker come to address you from the city of Walthourville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor Brown, Administrator Howard, Mr. Joey Brown, Mr. Mosley. City of Walthourville, we have softly opened our doors on Monday, and I want to thank the City of Walthourville for adhering to the call. But we must remember that we are not out of the woods yet. So we are asking that each of you citizens to wear your mask. If you don't have a mask, we'll have some at the door for you, but we are still practicing a safe distance. And at this time, the City of Walthourville, we're not utilizing our public bathrooms at this time. Again, we are small, and we're just trying to do the best we can, so I appreciate each of you. We are following the model that has been set along with the City of Hinesville and the county, and we're just doing the best we can. And from me to you, thank you so very much. At this time, I yield to my friend, Mr. Alan Brown, the mayor of the City of Hinesville.
Thank you, sir. And to the chairman and the mayor, I've enjoyed being on the team. You know, Liberty County is pretty famous for working together like this, and this has been a pleasure. I'm not sure we're through, but I'm just saying that I want you to know I've enjoyed it. Good morning to Hinesville and Liberty County. As we move into the next phases of reopening, our weekly updates begin. I want to assure you that the health and safety of our residents and community still remain the priority of the Hinesville and Liberty County. This being said, the current case count in Liberty County is 96. As we said for the last several weeks, we expected an increase in numbers when we had an increase in testing. However, we still need to practice common sense and caution in our approach to daily life. The state has basically reopened in its entirety, but COVID-19 is not gone quite yet. Please remember the following basics that we've repeated over and over. Stay 6 feet apart when you can. Wear a mask when outside of your home if you're not eating, drinking, or exercising, especially in public settings. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Man, that's hard to do. If you feel ill, call your doctor or seek medical guidance. Just as quick reminders, there's COVID-19 testing happening in Liberty County today and tomorrow. Testing today is at the Schumann Rec Center. It runs from 9:30 until 12:30, so you've got a little time still. Tomorrow, it will be at Bradwell Park in downtown Hinesville from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. All testings are free, and the details are on our Facebook page. It's probably on several others, too. The Hinesville Farmers Market which has now been rebranded as the Market at Bradwell Park, will be returning tomorrow afternoon. I think, is that 3 o'clock, Mr. Howard? I think 3 o'clock it opens. Please check the city's Facebook page for more information, as there are some new health and safety rules that are in place for the market for the time being anyway. So please check them. City facilities reopened on Monday of this week with some changes in effect. Mask and temperature checks are required to enter the building. By the way, my temperature is holding steady in the about 97.8 to 98.2, so I hadn't had my temperature checked as much in my lifetime. But anyway, when you enter the building, you will need a mask, and we have them if you don't have one, and you will have a temperature check. And please, always feel free to look at our website and find out all the other rules. Finally, more of a COVID additional issue is that the 2020 census is underway. I'm concerned, so please, please, please fill out your census. You can do so online, over the phone, or the old-fashioned way like people my age do, snail mail. There's an adage that your city and county, it's all about money for your city and county and power and data. This has been used to describe what the census means, but it really is much more than that. It's how we invest in the future of our community. And that is, with those monies that we get and the extra representation we get, we're able to do so much more in our community if our count is current and the right amount. We lost millions of dollars in the last 10 years, and if you guys will go register with the census and sign up and do your thing, we'll be a whole lot better off in our community. It's been a long few months. The people you see up here know that, and we know you feel the same way too. However, bear with us just a little longer as we see this thing through. Be safe and healthy in Hinesville and Liberty County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Allen Brown, the Honorable Mayor Allen Brown. Thank you again. He's done such an excellent job, and I could just say ditto and sit down. But I would like to extend congratulations to the chairman on his reelection campaign, and to Mayor Baker. Glad to have you here as well. The city of Hinesville has transitioned back to basically state of public access to the city facilities, although in a modified way. We've done this. There, as the mayor stated, we do have face mask requirement and temperature check as you enter into the facilities. And so we ask that you comply with that. And if you don't have a mask, I will provide one for you at entry. I would like to also add that for the most part, the city of Hinesville had suspended, cut off of utility services if you were not able to make your payment in full. We're transitioning back where those late fees and cutoff will commence as of August 15th. August 15th will be the last day that you would be able to pay without those additional fees. So you'll be getting a letter for those city of Hinesville customers. You'll be getting a letter explaining the process, and if you cannot pay your outstanding balance in full, you'll be given an opportunity to set up a payment plan. It is not our desire to cut your services off. However, we have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that we collect those fees. So we ask that you pay close attention to the letters that we send out. We'll be sending letters out for the next couple of months. You'll get one in June, you'll get one in July, basically giving you information as to how you could facilitate that process with the city of Hinesville. The mayor mentioned the farmers market, and I would like to add to that, we are reopening the farmers market tomorrow. Social distancing will be deployed there as well. We're asking you to adhere to CDC's guidelines. We'll have signage out there. We'll have directional sign, and the flow of traffic will be marked so that it could help you get in and out. We ask that you wear a mask. We understand that it's outside, and so you're not as susceptible to the spread of the virus as you would be inside. But again, the virus is still alive here in Hinesville and throughout the United States as well. I want to continue to encourage the residents of Liberty County to please stay vigilant. We are not out of the woods yet. Although our numbers are low, but the increase of the cases are rapidly getting higher. And so we would like to encourage our citizens to please adhere to these guidelines so that we're not one of those states known as a hot spot, because we've done a great job thus far, and we don't want to do all of that for nothing. And so we encourage you once again to stay vigilant and continue to practice social distancing. And I'll call on Mr. Brown to give you some further update on the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to address some of these things. Much like some of the other organizations, I want to talk about offices first. We did open this week with occupancy and traffic limitations. We are doing some distancing protocols, and we strongly encourage the public to wear masks when you come in. In fact, in the annex building, and I'll talk about the court system in a minute, but in the annex building, we're also doing temperature checks here. The deputies are helping us with that process. We encourage you to try to do the best you can to conduct business through online transactions. You can view the availability of these services by going to our website at libertycountyga.com and visiting the page of the department you need to access on there. Direct phone numbers for those divisions are also available on those pages. So if you can't find the online access information you want, you can feel free to call that office, and those divisions will be glad to help you. If you've been around the annex building since Monday, you'll notice that one of the offices that's experiencing the most traffic right now is the tax commissioner's office, through which they issue car tags. Due to some occupancy limitations in the lobby area and the spacing requirements, these lines have been long. Just as a reminder, if you plan early enough, you can mail these in for a $1 fee. You just have to take a little time to plan ahead, and I encourage you to do that. Let me move to the court facilities for a second. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Georgia sometime back issued a judicial state of emergency until June 13th. This has now been extended until July 12th. What this means is that there will continue to be no jury trials or assembly of folks for jury matters or impaneling of juries by the court. But however, subject to certain guidelines, the courts and their offices can conduct some limited activities, which they have began to do in order to keep that judicial process moving. If you do have any questions about your case, please contact your individual attorney or the clerk of court of that court that you're going to see, be it Superior Court or State Court, and they'll be glad to help you with your questions. Do expect, though, if you do go to the Justice Center, to have some protocols there that you'll have to go through. In fact, COVID screening criteria, including mask, temperature checks, and a short form that'll need to be run over for you, questionnaire for that. Talk about recreation for a second. We're slowly moving back to recreation activities. Now open are the tracks, walking trails, the pools, the open air venues, the basketball courts, the skate park, the boat ramps, and our fishing facility down at Sunbury. What we have remaining to address are, of course, our indoor facilities, our camps, and some of our organized programming, and I want to talk just a second about those. I mentioned last time that the Commission and Recreation Board was looking at a plan to possibly be able to offer day camp for a limited time. This plan has been put together, and the camp would only be able to accommodate about 50% of the normal load and would be heavily staffed in order to meet all the COVID requirements for day camps. I do expect that you will probably hear some more about that And as that moves forward this week, later on as the commissioners discuss that further. The other thing that obviously we do and are proud to do is be able to offer some after-school programs. We have started to think about those. Those would have to be much in line with what I've just mentioned on the day camp programs, but we're in kind of a holding pattern for those, not knowing really what schools are going to do or what they're going to look like, whether they're going to go to virtual learning most of the week or alternative during the week. So we do have those on our minds. They're on our burners, and we'll wait to see what the school decides to do there. Finally, the Georgia Recreation and Park Association, of which we're a member, is having a local meeting over the next week or so to talk about programming of sports and activities. We will have representatives from the Recreation Department at that meeting, and they're going to talk about possibly having some shortened seasons for some events and discuss what fall events may look like in the COVID environment. So please stay tuned, and we'll be glad to give you those updates too. Finally, our commission meetings. The commissioners have come back into the room under some social distancing requirements, but the public is still in a limited capacity right now. Persons in commission meetings are limited to the press and limited to those folks who have actual items on the agenda. The commission will be discussing this further, possibly as early as this week, to talk about when we may can return to full open meetings guidelines as required. In the meantime, though, if you have any questions related to those meetings, related to any of the procedures or anything I've discussed here, please feel free to call our office at 912-876-2164. Finally, just on these meetings and on these briefings, the management team, the team that's done so well through this process of the COVID environment has discussed the need to continue these. However, we will move now to our next update being July 1st. So it would be at 11:30 on Facebook on July 1st, following some other briefings that we have on that day. And please watch us on the Facebook page there. In closing, again, I do want to say something I said last week. I want to thank the public and our departments for working through this process together. I also, like others have mentioned, want to encourage you to keep practicing those sanitization and distancing requirements. These are important even when COVID isn't present. Please consider wearing that mask that these folks have talked about, especially if you're going to be in an indoor situation for a long period of time and if social distancing isn't possible. And I would just add this: if you won't do it for yourself, please just do it for your neighbor and help us out. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Brown and Team Liberty. While I'm standing, Mr. Howard reminded me of thank you so much, community, for your confidence in me and re-electing me Chairman of the Liberty County Board of Commissioners. I don't take that position very lightly, or nor do I take your vote of confidence very lightly. I'm honored to serve, and I will do my very best to serve you well. I do want to, while I'm standing, digress just a little bit, and someone mentioned the census earlier. It's very important that Liberty County, like Mayor Brown did. It's very important to Liberty County and where we need to go. It helps us to do our planning. It helps us to be a progressive and a visionary community. So we need especially those funds that follow the numbers. So please, ma'am, please, sir, do that. And I'm gonna ask Mayor Baker if he would come and just mention that what Walthourville has going on with the census.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I meant to make mention of this earlier, but it is very important to the citizens of Walthourville that we sign up on our census, because our numbers are real low, and we need your help. So the roads that you were requesting to be resurfaced and paved, there it is. It's in the census. So we are set up at City Hall if you need some help. We are set up in our drive-through if you need some help with the census. So we're there to assist you in any way, but it is very important that we sign up for our census. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Baker. Let me also express my appreciation for your tolerance on Election Day. We know that was a different process for all of us, all over the state, no less just here in Liberty County. So thank you for your patience with that process. The Board of Elections is working feverishly now to improve that process for November. So let's work with them as they prepare to enhance your the democratic process here in Liberty County. And I'll close on this. Thank you for thank you for your voter confidence on T-SPLOS. That's very important to our community also. Our growing community needs those kind of funds to advance our infrastructure. So we thank you so much for voting yes for T-SPLOS. And I will close with this statement. You know, we are reminded of how you can give a child a cell phone or an electronic gadget and how they can figure it out very, very quickly. So children are often known to lead the way. So when it comes to the new normal that we have now, the children will pick up very quickly. Adults need you to do the same. Let's be like the children and pick it up real quickly so that whether someone else forgets to stand 6 feet behind us, we don't forget to stand 6 feet behind or 6 feet ahead. So those kind of things need to be just part of our normal behavior. So let's be like the children, adapt very quickly, and we'll all be better because of it. Thank you so much for viewing today. As Mr. Brown said, we won't be here next week, but the week following, we'll be back. And but our various Facebook pages will be available to you at all times, our website at all times, to give you the latest information on what's going on in Liberty County, Georgia. Thank you. Have a great day.